to my channel. Today I will be doing a summer neutrals makeup look. I will be using products from this month's Boxycharm box. I've already did an unboxing and I will leave that video up in the cards. I will also have it linked in the description. I will have a sign up link for Boxycharm also in the description. I will link all the products in the description and their prices if you want to purchase them individually. June's Boxycharm was a great box, so I highly suggest you go watch that video before you watch this makeup look so you can see what products were in there and how much it cost, because I broke all that down. And the featured palette that I'm going to use is from ZOEVA. It's from ZOEVA, ZOEVA, and it's called the Neutrally Yours palette. So I'll show you what the palette looks like. It looks like this. It comes with 10 shades. I love this palette, even though I'm not a big fan of neutrals, but for summer, neutrals are great, and neutrals is something that I can just wear to church when I don't want my makeup to be too bold and to stand out too much. A neutral palette comes in handy. The one thing I do not like about this palette is that it has no mirror. That's the only thing that bothers me about this palette. So this is the palette we're going to be using today. So let's get started. I've already cleansed my face. What I use for a cleanser is the Micellar Magic from Tarte. This is a good cleaner. It's not harsh on the skin. It's very gentle. And you just wet your face, wipe off your makeup. I would suggest doing a double cleanse. Use this twice. Cleanse first, use it to get all your makeup off. And then after you got all your makeup off, go back in with this cleanser to just make sure your skin is really clean. So for primer today, I'm going to use two primers. I'm going to use the Professional Primer from Benefit, this one, and I'm also going to use the Glassy Skin Balm for Touch and Soul. So we're going to start with the Benefit primer, and I'm just going to use this one on my nose, and I'm going to use the Glassy Skin Balm everywhere else. I'm only using the Benefit one on my nose because in the summer I get very oily when it comes to my nose, so I'm just going to put this one here and on the bridge of my nose, and then I'm going to take my concealer brush to, I grabbed the wrong brush. Like sometimes I don't be thinking like this is my concealer brush. I'm just gonna run it down my nose and on the side of my nose to blend this in, and then we'll get into the Touch and Soul. And I love this primer for summer because it's so lightweight, and I can use this in areas that aren't really effective. See what it looks like, and it melts into your skin perfectly. So I'm just going to use a little bit more. your skin, and you're good to go. I was just checking the clock because it is 5:30, and as we speak, I have a premiere going on tonight for a video for my Wisdom Wednesday. You guys will already see that video before you see this one. So, next I'm just going to take this concealer from Trestique. It's in the shade Toffee. It looks like a crayon, which I love that. And I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to use the mirror from this Wonder Beauty palette to my concealer is all on, and we're just gonna blend. You know what it's like when you lose the top to something? Here it is. And we're just going to blend this concealer out. Honestly, I like using a brush instead of a sponge because I feel like I have better control over a brush. So I'm just going to blend this out. And guys, I will get better at having a different mirror so you guys can see. And I used the wrong brush. I grabbed the smudger brush instead of my concealer. Wrong spot. But here's the concealer brush. And we're just going to do this under my eyebrow. This just cleans, when you put concealer under your eyebrow, it just cleans it up. Because I don't usually tack down my eyebrows with the gel sometimes because they can be a little crunchy, and I like the naturalness of my eyebrows, so I don't fill them in most of the time. So I just put concealer underneath to lift up the hairs on the bottom. And then we're just gonna blend out the chin area to cover a little bit of those breakouts. But you can barely tell that I have concealer on, which I like. And then we're gonna do the under eye. And I like the concealer stick instead of the sponge because when I hold it like a pencil, it's easier to hold. And guys, if you're wondering why I'm looking to my left, because my phone is blinking and I'm getting text messages about Bible study tonight, other things. So what is everybody doing right now? I know you're probably watching this video, but what do you guys usually do on a Wednesday? Like, do y'all have anything particular? So my concealer is done. I'll come back to the concealer because I'm going to use that as a primer for my eyes. But I want to make sure that my skin looks the way I want it to look. And it looks natural. And that's what I'm going for. Very natural look when it comes to the skin. And it looks natural. You barely can tell I put anything on, which that's the way I like my makeup to look. I want it to look like I'm not wearing makeup. So, yeah. Now, I did not have a plan for this makeup look, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this Glassy Skin Balm because my eyebrows are going haywire, and I'm just going to see, I use like a dab to put this on top of my eyebrow to give them a little bit of moisture, but not necessarily tack them down like a brow gel, because sometimes brow gels can be crunchy. And guys, you know this little head wrap of mine always falling down, so we're just gonna move that and follow the natural shape of my eyebrow to use the little Glassy Skin Balm to just smooth it down. See, but they're not tacky, they're not crunchy, they're just smoothed down. You can also use a little bit of Vaseline to tack down your eyebrows if you don't want to use a brow gel, but smoothing primers work too, especially when they're already right there. So now we're going to go back to the concealer to use this as a primer for my eyelids. Sometimes I don't think it's worth the money to pay for an eye primer. I noticed that a lot of the beauty gurus use the P. Louise base as an eye primer. I always see Nikki tutorials using the P. Louise base as an eye primer most of the time. And sometimes when you're trying to only use a few products, you don't always have an eyeshadow base. And honestly, if I'm in a rush, like today I'm not going nowhere, I'm not in a rush, so I prime my eyelids. But usually if I'm in a rush, I just slap on eyeshadow, I'm not priming. So you can always skip steps to get the quickest look possible. And let me know if you guys want to see my 10-minute makeup look, because honestly, on a Sunday, I don't have that much time to do my makeup, especially when I'm going to church, because I leave my house at like 7:30 in the morning most Sundays. So I'm like, the quicker I can get makeup done, the easier it is, because I want to sleep at least till the last minute. Even though I wake up at 6 a.m., if I can have the alarm go off at 6 a.m. and then get an extra 10 minutes that I don't have to spend on my makeup, I'm happy. So I'm just blending the concealer out on my eyelids to prime, which this will leave your eyelids a little bit tacky. And it's good that it's tacky, because when it's tacky, it gives the eyeshadow something to stick to. So now we're going to break into the palette. This is the ZOEVA palette, and it's called Naturally Yours. Now, I am going to use the pure shade just as a base to make sure the concealer is covered and it's light enough to blend in to where it looks like I'm not wearing the shade. I don't want to use a sparkle to lay down the shadow since I already primed. I want the lighter color. So I'm going to use Pure to do that. And I'm just going to take it and brush it all over my eye to lay down the first color just to make sure I set the primer. Guys, does it annoy anybody else when you don't have a mirror and eyeshadow palette you're using? Because this annoys me. There is some cake up in the pan, so if you're worried about fallout, it's not a lot, it just cakes up in the pan. Fallout doesn't really bother me, but I know it bothers some people, so I'm just going to speed through this part as you guys watch me lay down the first color to make sure. We have our base down. I'm actually going to take our blush shade in the palette there's a blush. I have a Wonder Beauty blush trip for 2 palette right here. And I don't know how you say this, but it's a pretty rosy color. And I'm going to take it and I'm only going to dab it on my eye. This is going to be mostly neutral, but I'm just going to stamp it in the front, like where your eyelid starts. As you can see, I'm just stamping it in the front because I want a little bit of color, but I want this to remain as neutral as possible, but because this is a neutral look, but I'm just stamping it to give it a light pink hue, so you won't barely see it. I'm just stamping it in on both eyes, like so, the front, to give it a little bit of color, but blending it out enough to where you won't see it when I lay our next color on top, but you will see a hint of it poking through when the light hits your eye, and that's what you want. I want that little bit, like when people look at you, they're not going to notice the pink, but they'll see that the pink will give your eye a little bit sparkle to make them go like, ooh, what does she have on? To give herself that sparkle. So that's why I chose pink. Now we're going to go back into the Neutrally Yours palette. And I'm going to deepen up the crease with the shade Soft and Sexy. It's this shade right here. I'm going to deepen my crease with that to keep that neutral palette intact. And I'm not using a crease brush for this because I want this to be very, very precise. So I want to get as close to my crease as I can with this color as I possibly can. So I'm just gonna use the mirror to get as close in my crease as I possibly can. It will likely help if you close your eyes. And I know I do this blonde because I want it to be in my crease. So if you see me closing my eyes, I can feel myself running the brush back and forth. And then I'll go in and look in the mirror to check the crease. Now, if I close my eye, you can see all the color up in my crease, just the way I want it. So next, I'm gonna go back and do the other eye. Let me know about my color if you heard that was full color. I'm not gonna go for this. That's not gonna line. That's not the color you said. So I'm just gonna do this in the other eye. And you don't your eye, so focus on your eye. I just want to tap the crease first and then do the back and forth motion. So increase. So my color. And down in the mirror. Make sure the color is washed all over. These are my eyes on both sides. My eyes are not perfect sisters, so if one goes darker than the other, I can go with contrast. If you want to go with mine, you color you can do that, but I like the contrast between my eyes. So that looks good. But makeup is all about doing what makes you happy. And guys, we're almost done. All we need is a blush and a lip. And this is your neutral color. But just really quickly, before I apply blush, I am going to take my finger to this bottom color called Glassy Elegance. Right here, Glassy Elegance. I'm going to dip my finger in it because it has a little bit of shimmer to it. I'm going to dip my finger, here's my finger, in it to put on my lid to give it a little bit of sparkle closer to your tear duct. So I'm not making sure it goes all the way over on the eye because see, I can still see that little hint of pink peeking in. And that's the way I want it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. I want this to close to my top. So you don't even need that. I'm just going to make it close to your making sure that pink will shine through. And these are the eyes. I hope you like them. And I hope you love the neutrals. So I am going to apply this blush with my finger because I only want it on the apples with a clean finger. I'm going to take pink and just tap it into the skin. Smile and tap it in. And if it's too bright for you, just blend it out a little bit. But if you use a light finger or whatever blush you decide, it'll tap out easily. No bronzer today because the setting spray I'm going to use has sparkle in it. I'm not going to use that. Or highlighter. But I just applied the blush with my fingers. And if I smile, you can tell that it's barely there. But I'm going for neutral looks. I want it to give me an enhancement, but I don't want it to look like I'm necessarily wearing makeup. Now we're going to go for our lip. And I'm going to use one of the colors from this lip trio. And this is the color. The lip trio is from Beauty Valet. So I'm going to use this lip color. And it's in the shade Cozy Kira. You can tell I've already been in this one a lot. This is like my go-to out of all three. And I'm just going to fill in my natural lip at the top, but the bottom I'm going to go under a little bit. And I'm going to use outside makeup under. I'm tracing my top lip. Over the top. And then the bottom lip, you go under. Under a little bit. Leaving top part of the box. So it's blue and I'm going to put bottom. And so, we're going to go. Okay. The color I'm going to use to fill in my lips is from Jouer. Now I've showed this before in a Boxycharm unboxing. The color is lighter than what it actually looks like in the tube. So what we're going to do. This one's perfect. We're going to go. Actually look like. And the last thing I'm going to do is take this iconic London Prep Set and Glow spray. I'm not going to shake it up because it'll cause too much glitter. And I am going to spray my face. Make sure you close your eyes and your mouth. Fan yourself so it'll dry. Fan yourself so it'll dry. Guys, I'm going to have a battery operated fan next time, so I don't have to fan myself when I use the setting spray. And this is just going to set in your makeup. And we're going to get a closer look at how everything looks. Tell me if you like this neutral look. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share out this video when it goes live. It'll always be a premiere, and I'll see you guys next time. Love you.